tiring.
Well, in that case, what are we drinking?
Same for the goddaughter.
Dad told me you found something on a train during the war. A dial that could change the course of history.
Why are you chasing the thing that drove your father crazy? Don't move.
We need to get out of here.
Stop!
Sorry.
Helena! Dr. Jones, get him. Hitler made mistakes, and with this, I will correct them all. You stole it. Then you stole it.
And then I stole it. It's called capitalism.
This way!
Fasten your seatbelt. There might be some turbulence.
You've taken your chances, made your mistakes. And now a final triumph.
Indy! Give him hell, Indiana Jones! A few times in my life, I've seen things. I've been tortured with voodoo. Been shot 9 times, including once by your father. Sorry! But I've been looking for this all my life.
Welcome, adventurers, to another thrilling episode of the Periodic Table of Awesome.
Yeah!
Beautiful.
I love it. This is amazing.
Yeah, I'd love it more if I had a fucking hat.
Oh, really? Well, like
I'd reach just off screen, but there is literally no hats here.
Is there no Zoom filter to give you a little hat?
Actually, you're right. Let's just.
Yeah.
I maybe sometime just talk amongst yourselves for a second.
Sure.
All right, Quinny's going to find a hat.
You're looking
got
way
this
better
shit.
than I am. I've got my hat that doesn't really want to work on. There we go. Look, you've all seen
I'm
it
giving
now.
picnic
like this.
basket
Well, it's that thing. Is it
the Yellowstone Ranger over here.
Yeah.
Quinny's got the smooth criminal
Oh.
on.
Yeah.
Quinny's
shit.
got the Walter White.
Yeah. Either that or mon Dieu.
Oh.
Say his name.
Yeah.
Put a hat on that
Somebody
just
says
says.
I need a fez, but this is going to have to do. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I had a fez. I'm going to get rid of this hat. My hat's down for Quinny.
Oh, okay.
For Quinny.
Right,
Quinny's gone now. He's done.
Oh, he's a graduate.
It belongs in a museum.
Yeah, Quinny belongs in a museum. I'm going to chuck my
we'll
hat
stop
over there.
this now.
That's how we do
Right.
it.
We're going to write to Zoom after the show and tell them they need a fez and a fedora.
An Indiana Jones hat, please.
I need a fez and an old priest and a young priest.
How are we all this fine week? Are we feeling happy? We feeling upbeat?
We're back. It's the next show within 5 days, isn't it?
On our regularly scheduled night.
Yeah, that's why there's so few people in the chat, because they don't know what fucking day we do this on anymore.
No, we're 3
Wednesday? Is it Thursday?
Yes,
Hey.
close enough, Karina. This isn't a Kubra, not a fedora, so you know.
Right. What does Indy wear a fedora?
He
or is
wears
it...
an actual fedora and not a
It's a fedora.
trilby.
Yes, trilby is the one
Ah.
most commonly associated with the neckbeards that everybody messes up and thinks is a fedora, but it's not.
not.
Right.
It's a trilby.
Fedora
okay.
is a wider brim.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Right. And here comes Casper. He doesn't need a hat because he's just subbing like there's no tomorrow. Thank you, Casper.
Thank you, Casper. That's nice. Oh well, wait. No, it's too far away. I can't reach for the sub.
Yeah.
And enough subs
I
because we
got
did subs.
mine
Subs
here.
was last week.
Yes.
We've moved on now.
Yeah,
My
we're
little
done
cat
with
is still
subs.
alive in his sub.
Oh.
We're into this week we're into finally, I don't know, trying to change history so that we don't all end up in a terrible recession.
Let's do that.
We're talking about the fourth in the series of Indiana Jones films.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
Yes.
is
the
it?
only
Yes.
fourth. Okay,
Yes, it's definitely the fourth.
all right. Technically fifth if you include the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles as a movie kind of thing, and that's all I have to say about that one.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like, I do love that with this, you could conceivably almost entirely ignore that other thing, apart from the fact that one character gets mentioned. And you're like,
Sure.
okay, right. Yeah.
And-
but even still, it's still just like, whatever.
yeah. Look, it's there. He's seen a lot of weird shit.
Yeah,
It's like-
yes.
I kind of
That's
love
pretty
that.
much his way of life, really, isn't it?
I think Harrison Ford kind of walked in there and like, great, we've got another Indiana Jones movie. He's like, why? And they were like, yes, that's the kind of character we're after. It's like, I'm going to play him grumpier. And they're like, fuck, okay, we have to rewrite a lot of this.
Yeah.
He's going to be
How
real
do you
angry.
mean grumpier?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't think that was physically possible, Harrison, but there you go.
I'm going to be so angry.
He's angry, but also there's a lot of it where he's not, and you know, I found him quite intriguing at different parts of this.
I found it
Like-
quite intriguing because he had like a script and a plot, and he wasn't just going from scene 1 to scene 2 to scene 3.
So this is
Ah.
you returning to your theory of films that are because and not and then.
Yes, then
Yeah.
it wasn't. It wasn't that one, which is like they're at Area 51. Then a nuclear bomb glows off.
Then he's in a fridge.
Then he's in a fridge.
I'm sorry, I know we are referencing to the movie that doesn't exist, but there you go.
Yes. But this one was, a bit different, and it was a nostalgia bump. I'm going to go into this and say, look, I was predisposed to like this film, even if it was terrible.
Right. Okay, so this
know?
is you putting your cards on the table.
Absolutely, I'm going to say that this one was advertised out, and I was like, yeah. I've already been massively disappointed by an Indiana Jones film before, so I'm going to really be open-minded.
Nice.
I think my first thought when they announced another one was, I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The eyebrows go all the way up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know what? Like, okay, I went. Strange side note, but I went and saw a bit of Australian theatre / live performance / basically theatre sports,
Right.
called Slideshow, hosted by Rove McManus.
Okay.
And this is a long-winded explanation. I'm sorry. I apologize for derailing again. But within it, there was a discussion about the American show, I Think You Should Leave, which is a sort of
Okay.
a clip show, but we were talking about like all of those things. There is a quick meme that has come out about that with a character going, "Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that?"
Oh,
Are you
right.
sure
That
about
guy
that?
that's like being memed right now.
Yeah, that guy that's
Okay.
being memed right now. And like
Yes.
because of that recommendation, he's like, "Oh, that's a really great show." I went back and I watched it. And while that meme is very funny, the show is not that funny after about the first 10 minutes. And then I was like,
Is
I
this
can't believe
Slideshow?
No, Slideshow is kind of good, but it's just theatre sports.
Okay, because Predakanker is actually asking for your, and this is a review of Indiana Jones, but could you also give us a quick review of Slideshow?
Slideshow is really good. It's just fucking theatre sports, but that's fine because it's done in a nice way with a rounding out entry plus having the live music being played with it is great. I can't remember their name from the keyboardist from the Axis of Awesome.
The small little short guy with the glasses.
I'm so sorry that I haven't remembered that name,
Mhm.
but it just has a revolving cast of different comedians and actors who come in to do it every time. It's like
Benny?
it's theatre sports. Benny Jordan.
Yes, yeah. I was like, I'm pretty sure
Benny.
it's a Benny.
Benny
And the Jets.
Benny and the Jets. Yes. Good. Go see Slideshow. It's fun. It's really lovely. And every
So-
time you see Rove, you just want to go, I'll say hi to my mum for me. Wait,
Yep.
Right.
what for you? I don't know what you're doing.
So-
Anyway.
So anyway, now we know where that meme guy comes from.
Yes.
Right.
And if you are a glutton for fucking punishment, go and seek out the 3 seasons of I Think You Should Leave because it has definitely overstayed its welcome. Although the memes are funny in context, in a short burst, it's very funny, but unfortunately, it's just that forever. And it's that annoying part of American humor where being loud and making people uncomfortable because they're too loud, like too loud, that's all that is. And I was just like,
Ah.
oh,
Mm.
that's what that
Okay,
is.
so what would you rate it out of? Like, let's go through our first review of the night. If you want to rate that, and we'll move on to the
Okay,
next film.
no worries. Memes, top tier. Like, I think you should leave memes top tier, 9 out of 10. They're really good in that context. The show, however, is too much. It's a crushing amount of things. So
Right.
I put it probably somewhere just under the Kroll show, but then better than what was that Australian one where Thank God You're Here,
Mm.
which again is just theatre sports. And that brings us neatly back to Indiana Jones and the
Does
Dial
it?
of Destiny, because
We were always destined to come back to this review.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, there
So
we go.
here we are now. Okay. Dion, I know you're a big Indy fan. Is that a reasonable statement to make?
I'm an Indiana Jones fan. I'm a fan of Indiana Jones and the temp and everything. Because I watched it every weekend when I went to my grandfather's place when I was basically being babysat, and he didn't understand why I just kept watching Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark over and
Oh.
over and over and over and over again.
It's so fucking good.
Because he didn't have Star Wars, but he did have Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Right. So this was essentially you just getting your little hit of Han Solo.
Yes. Do I not have a heart, Quinny? Why would I dislike Indiana Jones but like Star Wars?
I don't know. What
I
about you,
haven't-
Jillaroo? You appear to be, well, I mean, getting on board for this tonight.
Like, this is as close as the cosplay as I'll get to it. Beck, on the other hand, has cosplayed Indiana Jones.
Yes, she has.
True.
I enjoy it. I think they're good. I think I've only probably watched them once or twice. I know the Forgotten one was I have only watched once. I
Mm.
don't really recall having any problems with it, except for the aliens. Because as
That's
Quinny
right.
found out, I have a very particular nit about aliens in movies and how they should be put into a movie.
And that wasn't the way to do it.
And that wasn't my way to do it.
Do you
no.
like aliens in movies, or do you think that
If it's
aliens
a
in
sci-fi
movies...
movie,
Yes.
yes.
Right.
If it's this happened and it was so mysterious and then we find out it was aliens, fucking hate it.
Right. Okay.
Right.
So it's not the same thing as clowns. Because I know you hate
No.
clowns, but
Clowns
aliens
because
are
I'm
okay.
terrified of them.
Right.
So if you
Aliens,
were to
I
watch,
feel like is like lazy storytelling along with like other tropes.
okay, so if you were to watch the film Killer Clowns from Outer Space, where
I was
would
gonna
you
mention
fall
that.
on that one?
Well, it's specifically set in outer space or something is from outer space, therefore aliens can correlate with that thing.
Okay,
So
right,
that's
okay.
okay.
Okay, cool. Right,
Yeah.
because it's
But
a
like
fucking
the crystal
terrible film.
skull, cool. What's a crystal skull? Oh, it's an alien head. No, fuck off.
But also,
and-
you're never going to watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space because it's literally on the cover that says you're not going to watch that one.
No, I'm not gonna watch that one.
Right.
No, and I don't blame you because it's shit.
Take that back.
Wait, it's a real movie?
Yes.
It is actually a real movie. That's why I was like,
I thought we were just like throwing out hyperbole.
No,
nope.
no,
That is definitely a film, and it's definitely shit.
it came out in 1988.
Oh well, that was the year my sister was born. So yeah, shit you.
Now, shots fired.
She
And
doesn't watch
there's-
this show.
and
She'll
there's-
never know.
Yes.
And there's also a PlayStation game about it, which I didn't know about till right now.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yeah. No, he's not in it.
Okay. Well, no, not that we're aware of, anyway. But yeah. Okay. So you'd watch the indie films probably just once, so not what you call massive fan.
Not a massive fan, but I mean, I enjoy the franchise. I think they're fun. I like
Yeah.
adventure movies.
Did either of you go back and rewatch any of them leading up to this?
Yes, I watched all three. I did in 4K. I was like,
Oh,
there's an Indiana Jones movie. And you know what? I have to say, I bought the fucking Lego.
oh wow.
So I sat
So-
down and watched Indiana
Wow.
Jones, the good ones, and built some Lego.
You, which
the
set
Lego
did
of
you get?
what? Yeah.
I won't admit that because someone may look at my receipts. But
Oh,
Hang on, have you not built them yet?
yes, I have.
Did you
I
not build them while you were doing the?
Yes, I got the Temple of the Raiders of the Lost Ark set. God, Jesus Christ.
cute.
And it's fucking
Ah.
amazing. And I can't there's a good review of that. It's like, what did you think about the Dial of Destiny? Well, I really enjoyed building the Raiders of the Lost Ark Lego.
Yeah.
Because it has a little light that goes down on the golden idol and all that kind of stuff.
Ah,
And Indiana
beautiful.
Jones has a bag of sand, which is
Oh.
cool.
Aw,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah, exactly.
Karina asked the question that says that there's a lot of hate for Crystal Skull, and I actually think the first half is not bad. It's just when they go, "Ooh, aliens," it goes to shit. No. Yeah. Sorry, Karina.
No.
There's a lot of the rest of the film that's shit too, but the alien stuff is where it really fucking derails. There are parts of it that are a lot of fun.
What parts?
I don't know. There's a bit where they're at a temple, and there are these kind of
And they're attacked by parkour people from South America that don't
Yeah,
get
it's
any
very cool.
lines.
yeah,
and
it's very
have-
cool.
My favorite thing from Crystal Skull is the wig that Kate Blanchett wears because it just cuts those cheekbones so well.
She does look
Mm,
amazing, but then
yeah.
she opens her mouth and delivers her lines, and everyone goes, "Oh, Kate,
Yeah.
this is
She's
not good
so
at all."
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
There were elements of it that I was like, oh, this is a bit of a good actiony, rollicky adventure thing. But then there's a 5-minute long sequence where Shia LaBeouf gets his dick punched so many times, and it doesn't improve the film.
his dick whacked by fucking plant branches, and then there's a whole scene where he's swinging on a vine with monkeys.
Yeah, and
Wow, I
actually
don't
makes the
remember any of
Tarzan
that.
noise.
Yeah,
That's the part. Yeah.
did we
I don't
all?
remember any of it.
I just like,
But it does bring back Karen Allen. And that's one
Yeah.
of the few things that I do. Like, there are elements to the film that are lovely. There's just a lot of shit that goes with it. So,
yes.
oh well.
Yes.
But we're not reviewing that.
No,
No.
that doesn't exist. We can move on from that one.
Why doesn't somebody tell us about the one we are reviewing tonight?
Maybe. But do you need some background music there, Quinny?
I do, but I like what accent should I use, and should it just be Antonio Banderas again?
Oh, you could do that, or you could just do like generic German.
Oh no!
You could do Toby Jones doing German.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll do Mads Mikkelsen. No, I don't know.
No,
I'll just do a
that's
fucking
definitely not a magic voice.
No.
I give you the challenge then, Quinny, of doing it in Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Oh fuck!
Oh my god, you have to do the voice too. You have to do like.
All right,
the-
slightly
Yeah.
annoyingly British. Yeah, right.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, a little
Huh.
bit British.
Yeah. Daredevil archaeologist Indiana Jones races against time to retrieve a legendary dial that can change the course of history. Accompanied by his goddaughter, that's me, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, he soon finds himself squaring off against Jürgen Voller, a former Nazi who now works for NASA.
Getting a
I'm
little
just so
bit.
sassy. Yeah,
Getting a
it was
little bit
going further.
into Mike Myers.
Yeah.
territory
I
there.
think it was starting to descend into, and next on Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
It's either that or what's his name? The guy who does the announcing for he used to do the announcing for the car racing.
Oh,
I've
dear.
been watching these cars for hours and hours, and they're just going round and fucking round.
Casper's already rated that 150
Oh,
out of 100.
yeah.
Probably the best shit accent you've ever done.
Thank you. Thank you
Quite
very
fun.
much.
dear.
Yeah,
it
good,
was-
excellent. I do love looking at the chat and seeing a line of "it's shit accent" time. Makes my night.
Perfect. Now I feel like
so,
I feel
yes.
like you're putting it on.
Yes, I am. So yeah, I guess that's a relatively succinct synopsis of what happens in the film. So I guess the other thing we should probably flag up right now is the film hasn't been released yet.
No.
As of recording, so we are the only ones here that have seen it. If you're in the chat and you have seen it, Karina, or somebody else who may have got to a previous screening, please let us know. Because there were people who... Now, Dion, where did you see it?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, well, I saw it in a cinema. Like, kids these days haven't actually seen a cinema.
Right.
They all wait till they get it on their phones and watch it like Nolan intended.
Yeah.
No,
Not just a cinema, you saw it in a theater.
I went to the
Yeah.
theatre. I went to the State Theatre of New South Wales.
Ooh, lovely.
Because it was the closing night of the Sydney Film Festival, and they did a wonderful presentation of all the awards, and then they had their closing night film, which was Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And even though the seat was terrible, it was quite lovely because they gave us all hats, which
Go on,
was
show us
just
your hat.
wonderful. Look, it's they gave us a hat, and it was that beautiful thing where it wasn't really. Like it wasn't really expected, but it was also like it's a kind of a shit hat in the sense that it's a cheap one. But you see some people wearing it, and you're like, "Where'd you get the hat?" And they're like, "Oh, we've got one inside." And I was like, we wouldn't get one. No, they wouldn't give out all the hats, and yet they did. They gave out all of the hats. So for 3,000 people, we all got a hat, and that was lovely. And
Lovely.
see how I sort of also go. I was predisposed to like this. I got to eat a choc top. And
Then they buttered you up with freebies.
and because it's a
Yep.
state theater, I can also go into it with a Talisker, like whiskey.
Yes.
I just walk into there and go, I'll have a double Talisker, thank you. And they're like, great, yeah, no worries, okay, off you go, enjoy your movie. I'm like, cool, I got a choc top and a whiskey and a free hat. I'm
That's
down
nice.
for
right,
this.
Yeah.
Which
be
was
happy with that.
which was quite lovely. It was nice to hear everyone, especially everyone in the theater, was like all cinema goers, like they love it. But then it's like we're watching Indiana Jones, and everyone's like, yes, that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Show us the fucking movie.
Which you couldn't go much further away from that for the experience that Jill and I had.
Yeah, you went to a very
My
different
goodness.
screening.
Holy shit.
Pared back is an understatement. It was more like, is it on?
I got the invite, it's a press screening, and I was like, oh yay. And it has the nice graphics and artwork, and I was like, ooh, we're gonna go to a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Got to the cinema, and I'm like, there's nobody outside. The lights
Nobody
are barely on.
inside.
They spent all their money on hats.
Apparently.
That's where the budget went.
Yes.
I mean, I feel
You
sad
get a
that it
little
wasn't.
popcorn and a bottle of water, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice.
Yep. Just a small one of both.
Yeah. Whereas isn't it the one in Melbourne was a great.
Oh,
Kind
Melbourne
of.
went off. The one at
Yeah.
the IMAX in Melbourne.
Yeah.
That had pulled out all the stops. They even had a fucking string quartet playing the Indiana theme. Like,
Yeah.
What amazing!
Yeah.
I mean, I went the full
fake
thing.
jungle, boulders, all sorts of shit there.
I wore
Yeah.
I wore a bow tie in honor of Indiana
Aw.
Jones wearing a bow tie.
I even
Um,
offered myself up to be the boulder. I said I'd just roll after people if they wanted. But no, they didn't. They didn't even want that. Fuck's sake.
Look,
Philistines.
it was nice, and I mean, you always want to see a movie, especially one like this, in a place where it's full of people who are really excited to see it. You don't want to go in there with a bunch of stodgy people who don't like. I mean, I'm not going to go and watch the Fast and the Furious movies without a bunch of people who like UFC and lifting weights and enjoy doing fast stuff with cars. Like, why would you do that?
And metabolic steroids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I expect Lad Bible to be the main,
Sure.
supporter of the Fast and the Furious films.
Yeah, if I went to the Fast and Furious premiere and they weren't handing out Monster energy drinks, why am I even there? I know what I'm getting.
So yeah, I had a bit of a worry with the way that they dealt with Indiana Jones for us, because I was like, oh shit, this is the least care I've seen put into a press screening in a long time. And I was like, oh no, like, are they just going to bury the film? Are they really not kind of supporting it? But yeah, I don't know. I don't think that was the case. Maybe they actually have confidence in it. Not sure. So, should we talk about the film itself? We've talked about the
Yeah, I
screening.
mean,
We've
we could
talked
go
about the
on for
history.
We
about
don't,
25 minutes. We
Yeah,
should
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about the movie.
Yeah, maybe.
I did derail earlier, and I apologize for that. What can we say? What can you say about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny that is not spoilery? Because I don't want to spoil too much about this for people who haven't seen it. I want people to go out there and experience it. All I'm going to say very quickly is it's not fucking Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and that's a good thing. And also,
Yes.
it's not Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it's not The Last Crusade, but it's about Temple of Doom-ish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Right,
and
so
remember,
this is where
Temple of Doom is not the greatest film, but it has some
I still
iconic
like
scenes.
Temple of Doom.
I like the Temple of Doom too, but also it's not the best Indiana Jones film. It's got some
No.
fucking hands down iconic shit that goes on in Temple of Doom. But
Mm.
when you look at it and you watch it from start to finish as a film, you're like, oh, there's a little bit of then in there.
Yes.
Then Indy falls from a plane. Then he gets rescued by some tribe of native
Yeah.
Indian people. Then he goes to the Maharajas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. That is very, very true.
Sure.
Okay. So let's talk about this one in terms of that. I think this one has a great opening. Like structurally, your Indiana Jones films, Indiana Jones. Oh, that's a very different film that I found once. In the parental porn stash. Yeah.
Did they switch out the D for a P?
No,
What
it
was
was
her Temple of Doom?
no, it was Indiana Jones and the Black Hole of Manpatuk.
That was different. I was going to go the Temple of Poon, but sure.
But we won't tell you what the Manpatuk of.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey. But yeah, so I think the first 20 odd minutes of the film is as good as Indiana Jones has ever been.
Yeah.
Like,
and I've also got to say, pretty excellent work on the de-aging in the sense, which doesn't really give too much away. It's just set earlier, like it's set during the Nazis.
Yeah.
It's set during
I mean,
that Nazi
like
party.
any de-aging, if you look at it hard enough and long enough, it does start to look a little bit funny. But I mean, for the action scenes and stuff, I think they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, it's way better than the Flash in terms of CGI.
It is, yes, but also Flash is still fun.
No.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, Quinny. I still thought it was fun. But in this one, I look when they started where it was like, the first think of your iconic opening things. Raiders of the Lost Ark has that really great sort of slow paced temple until it gets very fast paced. Temple of Doom has that amazing cabaret, Hong Kong cabaret kind of opening. Raiders have Last Crusade has the wonderful origin story.
Yes.
And then Kingdom of the Crystal Skull has the stupidest hot rod chase across Area 51.
Fuck, that's right.
Exactly. And the blowing up of nuking the fridge.
Yeah, well, that's just it. Like Crystal Skull has the whole fridge nuking, which is essentially your first 20 minutes. So
yeah.
So like the Indiana Jones films have that kind of thing that like they're meant to be based on the old serials where you were coming in at the end of a previous adventure. Yeah. So you join in just as a previous adventure is coming to a close and he's getting the whatever it is that he's meant to be getting. And I think this one does that really well by setting up essentially it's Indiana Jones and the Spear of Destiny.
I liked how they kind of did that one. And I won't spoil how that sort of goes, but I love that they reference the Spear of Destiny.
Yes.
Which explain the Spear of Destiny, Quinny?
It is the spear that pierced the side of Christ.
Yes, but what was the Spear of Destiny in terms of the films of Indiana Jones? It was one of the ones that they were workshopping around.
Oh yeah, it was one of the films they were trying to make for many, many years, and it just never got off the ground. So
we got Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yes. Oh well. So yeah, you've got that structural thing of start with the end of one film and then move into the main adventure. And this one does it in a slightly different way, that the main adventure is then, him as an 80-year-old playing a 70-something-year-old.
Yeah.
Well, he was retirement age in 60s America, so I don't know, 52. Comparatively, though, retired at an age where he could still enjoy his life, kind of.
Yeah, adjusted for inflation.
Yeah, yeah, adjusted for inflation. He's 97. And he's doing a really nice job, and I think they did a good job of updating everything and not playing into too many stereotypes in the whole kind of way. It had the opportunity to drift into weirdness. In there, and I really like that they kind of set it in 60s into a world that is very different for Indiana Jones and everyone else, which was kind of nice. I love that they kept some of the older characters that came back in, like Sulla, who's definitely there, moved him in the way into the 60s America and made it a lot about not so much about them anymore and made it a little bit more about everyone else.
Mm.
Which was good. It was a smart trick. I can't fault it for as I said, someone thought about it. Would
Yes.
Indiana Jones be the primary character? Not really. He can't run across rooftops for fuck's sake. He's a
No,
retiree.
but his stunt double can.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. And his stunt double can ride a horse, and his stunt double can take a fall and a punch.
Yes, and we all know that, of course, every 80-year-old man can easily free climb a rock wall. And just complain, going, my shoulder's a bit sore. It's like, fuck, you would have fallen off after 2 centimeters.
Yeah.
I would have fallen off after 20 centimeters. All right, it's got to go up to this ledge. Fuck. Leave
I'm
me.
back.
Yeah, on my back.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's meant to be set 1970, because it's actually after the moon landing.
They
In
had a
16
moon landing view party.
Yeah, they were having a viewing party, Quinny.
Oh,
of the
okay.
moon landing.
So 69 then, right? Sorry. I was also, but then they also had the people who were on. Oh, it was Apollo 11 that was in the parade.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. Yes. So yeah, look, it's very specifically set at a particular point in time, and with all of the things that go along with that time.
Yep.
Of the music and the attitudes.
Yeah.
Which I enjoyed. What did we like about it? You go.
I loved Mads. Mads Mikkelsen, I am
Ah.
in love with. And just give me evil Mads any day of the week and I'll take it. But I think my favorite thing was that he was actually based off the character. Well, not the character, the real life person that helped the Apollo missions.
Oh yeah.
That we all know about from For All Mankind,
Yes.
an actual history.
So essentially, he's a fictionalized version of
Yes.
that character.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That actually
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense, because I thought, oh yeah, that's that whole thing of
Which I've just completely mind blanked on. the
Yep,
real
me
life
too.
Person's name. Look it up,
yes.
Quinny.
Yeah, a man looks up things on the internet fast.
Thank you.
Though unfortunately, all I'm like, Werner von Braun.
Right.
Yes.
Bit of a
Yeah.
mouthful.
So rocket engineer from
Yeah.
Nazi in
Old
Germany.
Mads was a Schmidt. Was he a Johann Schmidt? Was he that boring, or was he a different?
No, he was
he was
Jürgen
character name.
Voller.
Oh,
So
okay.
pretty fucking close.
Very close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
So yeah, and we also pretty good job on de-aging him as well, because
Yeah.
Sure.
so the opening sequence has de-aged Indy, de-aged Mads, and also Toby Jones.
Yeah.
And then we jump 30 odd years forwards. So
25-ish, I think.
end of the war was
Well, that
what,
was
40?
45.
Yep.
So yeah, sorry, maths is not my strong point.
That's okay.
45 from 69 is
Nice.
24
4.
24 years.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Thank
But
you.
yeah, it's good that they don't stick too far into the past, which is actually quite good, because they don't have to stick too far into the past, and they don't have to use all the de-aging stuff onto the other cast, which would all be babies. But that's fine. I liked that it actually kept everyone pretty concurrent with that time frame now, and it is quite is it fun, or is it a little bit sad to think that all of those characters are now the age that they're all age appropriate? It's kind of it was kind of lovely, and I will go with you on this one too, Quinny. I don't understand where Antonio Banderas comes from. Were they not on Greek islands? They went to the Greek islands, and there is a Spanish diver, which is Could they not find someone who's Greek?
Yeah, maybe, or even just say, "Hey, this is our Spanish friend who's taken up diving in the Greek islands."
Well,
I don't
Russell
know.
Crowe wasn't available to be the Greek person, so they had to get somebody else close enough.
Oh man, he loves a
I'm
shit
pretty sure
accent.
Antonio Banderas is South American Spanish too, and not Spain Spanish. So it's really majorly fucked up. But
Yep.
at the end of the movie, I did say to Quinny, I'm like, is he someone from the old movies that I forgot about? Quinny's like,
No.
no.
Just-
But it really felt like he was supposed to be.
But also that is structurally one of the things that you do find with Indiana Jones films, where they'll introduce a character as having a long history with Indy, and then and it'll be like, who the fuck's that guy?
Yeah.
Like in that fourth one that we don't talk about, what's his
Yes.
name? Fucking
Um,
Ray Winston.
not, not Ray.
Oh,
you know,
no.
Was it Ray Winston? I don't think it was Ray Winston.
Ray Winston's in it, yes.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'll kill your monster.
Are you sure? Oh,
Yes.
yeah, it was Ray Winston.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry,
it was Ray
he's going to do
Winston.
the voice. And I'm, oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. and John Hurt as well. Like they're
wow.
very good at just whacking in, a reasonably well-known actor and say Indy's got a long history with him. But at the same time, I really was expecting somebody who maybe, I don't know, had been in one of the other films.
Sure. I mean, there's so many in there. Like, not a lot of them are left, really. I was, and I hope this isn't really a spoiler. I was bitterly disappointed that they didn't have Short Round come back in some way, but they
Yeah.
kind of did, because with the introduction
Oh,
of
in spirit.
Toby Jones, and then by default the daughter of Toby Jones, which is Indy's goddaughter, which is in Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character.
Mhm.
God, there's so many names.
Yeah.
As Helena Shaw, she does have a Short Round-ish character sidekick.
Yeah, Teddy. And
Yeah.
that was one of those ones that I kind of went, okay, I see what you're doing there. Like, I can see that character is a cipher for that style of thing.
To make it there, and I think it's only because her dialogue is better than expected during it that it's acceptable, because there is a bit there of me watching it going, I don't really like what you've done there. And I was just desperately hoping that they were going to put Short Round back in and make him the kid who grew up to be Indiana Jones, and then that could have been a nice twist, and I would have been like, fuck yeah, but they didn't. Sorry.
No.
Not a spoiler.
Also, I mean, I think they've kind of done that thing of going, well, Ke Huy Quan has really kind of hit his stride again only in the last couple of years. And they probably would have had to have kind of foreseen that whole everything everywhere all at once, explosion to get him into this film.
Mate, I could have done it for you in a weekend of reshoot. And all it would have required was Phoebe Waller-Bridge and Keely Hart, to come in and just do a thing where Phoebe Waller-Bridge gets stuck in some weird thing, like in another scam that she's trying to run. And guess who busts in the door? Fucking Short Round.
Yeah.
That would have been it. And I would have just been like, see? Fucking told you. And then you would have just had,
Then you would have been like Leo meme, like, yeah.
Yeah. And it would have been like, boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it's not to be. Oh well, I'll just do it in my head canon.
Yeah, well, and look, that's probably the best place for it. Let's be honest.
This is how you become a fanfic author, Dion.
Yes.
You write it yourself.
What do you mean become?
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, it's difficult
How
to
did we
talk
feel about Helena Shaw as a character? Oh wow!
Fine.
Wow.
I thought she was good. Like, I mean, I didn't. I thought she was done quite well, because her dialogue and her reasoning were done in the same in enough of a smart way to go, actually, no, she's a bullshit character, like all these things are bullshit characters, being able to do certain things, but she knew her strength wasn't strength. Her strength is her ability to outthink people, and that came across in the movie much better in that kind of way, and I think it worked very well. I
mean, she has the possibility of being like the female Indy, like she could lead her own movie franchise, whatever. But I feel like setting her up as an antagonist character that maybe doesn't have the best of intentions with being an archaeologist is maybe a little bit more interesting and a more fascinating, rounded character to have in a film.
She's certainly, like, whatever the things are that she's done, they're the things that are actually leading a lot of the conflict. So, whether it's stealing something or whether it's doing, the wrong thing by somebody in some other part of the world or whatever, she's actually very good at actually being the instigator of the next plot element.
Yeah, I feel like if she had come on board as like, oh, we need to find this so we can do X, Y, Z, and I'm going to help you, that would have been so boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'd already sort of seen something like that in Last Crusade, that we had, the blonde Nazi girl, who, you could see that she was the one that was kind of like, Indy, I'm going to help you and everything is good. And then she obviously turns and is evil. Sorry, spoilers for a 30-year-old film.
Yeah, but I mean, in this one, at least she's, she doesn't have an ethical quandary. She likes relics because relics provide her with money.
Mm.
And,
Yeah.
and that's the basis of it. And it doesn't actually really change throughout the whole thing. So I'm kind of like, fine.
Yeah.
Like, I get
There
it.
were a couple of times I was expecting her to perhaps maybe have a little bit more of an arc.
Yeah.
That, by the end of it, maybe she was going to be a little less kind of capitalistic. But
Yeah, but I mean, it's
we
not
like
like
to see character development.
it's
but
not like she had
yeah.
tenure like Indy had for such a long time, but then ended up finding himself teaching at a inner city community college.
Mm.
That's an interesting story. Why didn't we find out about that?
why he was teaching at a community college.
Yeah. Exactly. See?
Well, I think, I mean,
He had a
spoilery
whole
shit.
house. He had a bunch of artifacts. He maybe
He
had to
did,
sell
but
them
also
off.
what I find interesting is that throughout the course of the film, we find out why Indy is the way that he is at the moment. That things have not gone well for him, and he's got some shit that he's dealing with, and I do like that. That's what the story is actually kind of about: is him realizing that, yeah, you've actually got to go back to who you were, or at the very least, respect yourself for who you were before you can heal and move on and stuff. And we can't talk about much more because otherwise it gets very spoilery.
Yes, and we're getting way ahead. So let's just go to the roundup. Come on, give us your rating, and then we'll go to a spoilery section. And I'm going to highly encourage people, if you haven't seen it, don't listen to the spoilery section just in case.
Yeah, I think spoiler section would be a very bad thing because there's a lot to enjoy in the film that you don't want to be spoiled on.
Yeah, I feel like you would lose some enjoyment of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Who's going to go first?
You.
Me.
Yes.
As I said, already predisposed to like this one, and it's the Temple of Doom end of my spectrum. Without there's nothing very iconically memorable for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which gives me that thing. Like, there's nothing happens in the film that I go, that's an iconic moment. And that's
no Kalima.
No, there's no Kalima. There's no, shooting the swordsman. There's no kind of why did it have to be snakes kind of thing in it. It's just kind of like a solid / safe film. So that's why it will go down for me a little bit. Like, I go, if there's, and I hate to fucking admit it, at least in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, they just tried to make a big thing that was a bit weird happen. And it was, on paper, an amazing shot of Indiana Jones standing there as a nuclear bomb goes off. Like, I get that. Yeah. I remember that one specifically, but with the Dial of Destiny, I'm not getting that iconic bit that comes back to me. I go, oh, it was a perfectly fine film. I like it. I don't know anything more about Indiana Jones as a character out of it, or any of the other characters. I just know that Indiana Jones had a kink. That he was there was a thing Indiana Jones really, really loved, and we got to know what it was by the end of the film. So I'm like, sure, but that's fine. So I'm going to rate it a solid 75. It would have gone higher, but I don't think it's worth any more than that.
That's it's lower than I expected from you, to be honest.
I know, right? Well, this is what I say. I don't remember any great iconic moment from the Dial of Destiny, but I had a nice time watching it.
I am also going to give it 75.
Hmm.
Because I had a good time. I thought it was a good action adventure movie, and I enjoy those. I didn't really have any problems with it. Didn't really dislike much, except for one trope, which is like a little bit becoming a cliche now. And
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah, it was handled all right by the end, and they kind of wrapped it up sweetly in a little bow, and yeah, I can't really think of anything to be mad at it about.
No. Yeah. I know what you mean. Like everyone who's asked me about it, I've and I think I said the same thing to you, Jill. And
Mm.
it's a weird phrase that popped into my head while I was watching it and when I got to the end of it. But it was a gentle kind of an action film. Like
Hmm.
it doesn't do anything particularly surprising. Like there are lots of big hits in it, and there are big punches, and there are lots of Nazis getting smacked in the face, and there are some things that hit really like that were sounded smacky cracky great. But the film itself kind of hits gently.
Yeah, it
Like
just kind of like carries you through.
it doesn't like it doesn't have, as you say, Dion, those real like moments. It doesn't have your minecart ride from Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Doesn't doesn't have the a penitent man,
Kneels
kneeling
before
in
God.
fucking doesn't have those really
Doesn't have taking down a German Messerschmitt with a flock of seagulls.
exactly. It's like it does all the things. They go through tombs, and they go across little rickety bridges, and there's all of these.
Little rickety bridge.
It was a very little rickety bridge, wasn't it?
Rickety bridge.
Yeah, it's a mini rickety bridge.
But that's exactly it. There was no moments that were like, are they gonna make it?
Mm.
It was like, no, of course they're gonna make it.
Yeah, like there are a couple of moments when he's riding the horse around New York that I was like,
When
"Oh, fuck,
he's
that's tense."
riding the horse.
Yes, sorry. When the stunt person was riding the horse around New York. But yeah, like I kept on thinking, like, it's fun, it's inoffensive, but it's the Indiana Jones film you have with a nice cup of tea and a biscuit. Thanks, Mum.
Indy light.
Yeah, it's, and I don't think that's particularly to do with the fact that he's 80.
Is it
I
going to be
feel
like old folks' home for Indiana Jones? Like,
Mm.
all right, everyone, we're going to get together and watch The Dial of Destiny. It's not too thrilling.
No, exactly.
But it's
not
warm.
gonna. You don't have to turn your hearing aid on all the way, Mabel.
But it's warm and comfortable, and by the end of it, you'll be like, I remember them. That's quite nice.
Yes, and I had a good old rollicking adventure, boys' own action adventure stuff, but it was just a bit safe. So yeah, I'm gonna go pretty much exactly the same as you guys and go 75. Like it was not bad, but it certainly didn't set my world on fire.
Yeah. If I think about other fifth films in a franchise, it's not terrible.
Look, it's a fuckload better than the fucking Crystal Skull.
Yes.
And I do think I think after the first three, this is number 4. Because I like Temple of Doom. There are still elements of Temple of Doom that I think are a lot of fun.
I mean, if you remember, the wonderful Fast Five, the great film in the Fast and Furious franchise, where it was like the fifth one, it's very safe.
Yeah.
Much like this one, it's very safe.
Mm.
And if they can make it to 11.
You know what I would have loved? Because I think the most exciting the film is in its first 20 minutes. Like,
yes.
The action stuff of the Nazis on the train and everything, that was fucking good.
Yeah.
That was good action shit.
Yeah, it was exciting.
And then when it had its big action set piece at the end, I was like, well, that was dull. That was a little dull.
Yeah, because like for most of it, they weren't in the action.
No.
They were just adjacent
to
it.
Yeah, the
and
action
like
was
we
happening
can't
over
talk
here.
too much because of spoilers. But like,
it's just like, can we have a little bit of peril? And they're like, no.
Oh, you can have a little bit.
Oh, tiny, a little bit of peril. Just a little bit of peril.
Yeah. Just from the side.
Yeah,
Side
you can see
peril.
some peril over here. There's peril in the background, and that plane's going to land just far enough away from the peril
Yes.
for it to not be too perilous.
Yes.
Um,
Not enough peril.
Yes, it's the Diet Coke of peril.
Diet Coke of peril. Speaking of Diet Coke of peril, let's go and watch.
Indiana Jones and the Diet Coke of Peril.
This is the name for the film. I love it.
There
You
we
can
go.
title the podcast that on Thursday
Indiana
when you
Jones.
put it out.
Absolutely.
Diet Coke of peril. All right, okay, we'll go on to we'll watch them talking about getting in the pool. The Tomb Raider-ish bit. Here, let's go watch a bit of Tomb Raider-ish bit from the Indiana Jones one. And then spoilers. So leave if you leave. Get out of here. You
Get
don't
the
want to be
fuck
spoiled.
out.
Get the fuck out.
G2F4.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ken.
Under the moon. Life lies at her feet. Water displacement. Get in the pool!
Why? Help me open the door!
Well, they didn't get out the doors. Get in the pool!
Okay, I'm getting in the pool.
Help me! Archimedes was fascinated by water displacement!
Yes, there we go. You made that point very well, Quinny. When no one was listening,
I know.
could you
I'm
make it
sorry.
again just for the benefit of everyone
Fuck.
out there?
He was speaking so confidently. I
You
thought we
were.
were already back on air.
I know.
It was confidence, it was passion. The clip hadn't finished. Quinny, take it away. What were you saying about that clip?
Sorry, everybody. Fucking hell. So yeah, that scene is a prime example of the kind of things that are a bit wrong with the film. Is that here you have a puzzle that needs to be solved, and to solve the puzzle, they just have to pull a few rocks into the ankle deep pool of water.
Yeah.
Whereas in other films, it would have been like, okay, climb up the wall, knock over the big fucking statue so that the water rises high enough to undo and there would have been
Yeah.
spikes coming through the wall at the same time. And there would have been
Yes.
snakes. This is just like old man, wanders around in a wading pool.
Yeah.
Look, it just
It
goes
was-
to prove that the Greeks were shit at traps. Like,
Yeah,
all that
it
does
true.
is prove that the best tomb builders were people in South American or Latin American countries.
It true.
Yeah.
It true. Jill, apparently Karina desperately needs to discuss a thing with you, Jill.
Yes,
I
I'd like
wonder
to
if
know what it is. So
yeah,
please
yeah.
put it in the chat,
Yes.
Karina, so we can
Yes.
discuss it.
Yes.
Because like her taking a phone call at this time of the show, bit awkward.
Would be awful. Yeah.
But look, all right. So obviously the dial of
Yeah.
destiny. What does the dial do? The dial allows you to turn back time. If you
You
could
fucking
If I could turn
back time,
back
if I could find a way, I'll take this battleship back through. Wait, I've seen this movie before.
Yeah, I honestly thought at one point they were actually going to do the whole fucking what's the something project.
It starts with a P. Yeah,
Fuck.
I know that one.
Yeah.
I will agree with that one, and I can see that Karina's actually typing in the chat, like furious all caps things about Boyd Holbrook. Can I just say, really enjoyed the placement of some Illinois Nazis into into this. It's like, oh wow, this is great. This is showing that Nazis just infiltrated the government / places elsewhere that they went, and they just sat there quietly, and they're still around, unfortunately.
Yes.
Anyway,
Which, I mean, actually was fairly accurate.
yeah.
Karina wants to talk about Boyd Holbrook's character.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh.
Boyd Holbrook, who is my blonde daddy from Narcos, next to Pedro, was in this movie as a Nazi sympathizer. And yeah, I mean, he still had his Narcos moustache, which was
Can we
Okay.
just actually can we just admit to one thing there? Like, I can't call that character or any of those characters Nazi sympathizers because they all put the uniforms on. You're no longer
Yeah.
a sympathizer. Someone who goes, oh, maybe I'll agree with some of your points. It's like, no, you're wearing the uniform. Like you're
Yeah.
Okay, so he
literally
became a Nazi.
always
Yeah.
was.
Let's get technical. But
Yeah.
then, could you not say that Indiana is also a Nazi because he wore a uniform as a disguise?
As a disguise.
Yeah. Yes.
He wasn't doing it
Ooh,
because he
now
went
we're
like,
grasping at straws, aren't we?
Oh wow.
no, Jill,
I've
we're not.
poked a hole in your straw man.
Oh, fucking hell, Jesus. I'm
There's
pretty
no
sure
straw
that
man
our
there.
buddy Boyd, who
Where's my
was
dog whistle?
yes, they're Nazis in hiding as opposed to being hiding as a Nazi.
Yes.
So that's the difference. Like it's what's underneath that counts. And with Indy, what's underneath is a heart of gold. Under Boyd Holdbrook, it's a heart of Nazi scum. Sorry. It was the Philadelphia experiment that I was trying to remember.
Right. Yes. When,
Yeah,
yes.
where they do time travel-y shit with a ship. I thought maybe they were going to do something like that.
Yeah, like I mean, after the aliens, I was a bit concerned
I
that they were going
know,
to
and,
go
like,
weird places, and then they went to
even for
time travel,
me,
and I was
like,
like,
after
really?
Aliens, I'm like, time travel, like, really? I'm like, every other movie was set in some form of like real world abilities of stuff,
Yeah.
like this is all like grounded in reality.
To a
And
degree.
now-
I mean, there's still the religious
you sure
allegory
about
stuff
that?
of like,
Are you sure about that?
I mean, to go full on into saying Archimedes invented time travel.
yeah, that was
Like-
pretty fucking silly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of a fun, like, the first one, Ark of the Covenant, super weapon, kills people, melts people's faces off because of God. Fine. Second one, different God, pulls hearts out, cult-like following magic stones. Fine. Third
Yeah.
one, all about God. Again, there's a bit of a theme here. Next one,
Yeah.
Latin American God. Okay, which was actually alien. It was aliens. And then fourth one is Archimedes as God, which was a bit like, oh. And also,
Yeah.
I would like to say, at what point does Indiana Jones he's smarter than a rocket scientist who definitely would have factored in the slight continental drift into his calculations of doing that, because this person
Right? This
sent
is a guy that
someone
launched
to the
fucking
moon.
Apollo mission. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he didn't think about that.
He wouldn't have checked his math.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I do think my favorite moment was when Mads was just absolutely losing it. It was like,
yeah.
but I'm like, mood. I have been there.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
It was so funny.
But yeah, so our overarching thing is all about finding initially the two parts of the Dial of Destiny, and then the disc of Destiny that goes into the dial.
The dial is a disc.
Oh, and the other little diary of Destiny that tells you how to find it.
Yeah, exactly. There was a lot of Destinies.
I loved,
and they had to go diving for the disc of Destiny.
And then they got sea snakes.
I did like that sequence.
Eels.
Yeah, I just love the idea that Indy's like, oh yeah, I can deal with anything, and he's like, it's they're eels, and he's like, what do you mean eels? Like, snakes of the sea.
Yes. Eels up inside ya.
Yeah,
Find an entrance where they can. Eels up inside ya. Which was a little bit kind of, why would all of the eels have sat around a bunch of things that were dead? I don't know. Yeah, again, it was just done for fun. I get it. Like, I can have fun with things, but sometimes I go, no, that's not how eels go.
But also, there's another prime example of a sequence that could have been a lot of fun. The whole going diving into a wreck and, having to escape or something like that while other people are diving or whatever. But it was kind of like, oh, you're being attacked by some CGI eels and you're out.
Yeah.
I was like, it felt like there were all these great opportunities for set pieces that were just
there was
not
no, let's
done.
explore this ancient ship. How amazing will it look? Oh, let's shoot it really beautifully and have like the light play through it and do all this. Nah.
No.
Oh, there's the thing. Cool. Let's get it and go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and we got some eels. Oh, but the Nazis are upstairs. Oh no. Yeah.
Upstairs Nazis again. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm really sort of happy that they went back to Nazis as the evil, because that's a pretty consistent theme across all of the Indiana Jones ones. And when they went to Russians, it was all a bit like, oh, I don't know about this. But like, I I kind of felt you were right there at the start, Quinny, where you said the best part of it is the opening scene where they de-age everything and they go all the way back, because it had all of those moments of peril and interesting bits that were
And
happening.
it was shot better.
Yeah, it kind of was.
Like it had really nice lighting and it felt like really dramatic. And
Yeah,
I think they were kind of, it felt like a different film.
yeah. And I feel like they maybe had a good idea towards the end when they were going for that big climactic scene at the end, but it didn't have. They missed. I feel like they missed a few tricks, like with that whole like Archimedes invasion or whatever. What was the battle called? I can't remember what the battle was called. Yeah, that
Poly
one.
something.
Yeah, that battle that they all
Polyjuice.
had. Polyjuice potion. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
The Battle of Polyjuice potion. There would have been an interesting thing there had they been able to make it look more like a dragon, like the plane look more like a dragon, to do some
Yes.
damage. But in the end, it was just a bunch of things flying overhead and being weird, and then nothing really resolves, and there's no real reason for it. Like it was just like, that's
Well,
weird.
apart from the fact that they actually left a plane there.
Sure, and that's why later on you see the bent wing plane thing and all that kind of stuff that they would have done and added to it, and et cetera, et cetera. And did Archimedes actually invent the right thing, or did he actually just use the instructions from the old one? Like all of that shit. I mean, the smartest thing about that whole ending piece was actually the choices made by Helena Shaw, which is, I'm gonna knock Indy the fuck out and take him the fuck home. Like that to me was like, actually, well
I thought
done.
that was hilarious
I'm
because
very happy you did that.
They really did keep going on and on with like Indy saying, "No, I'm gonna stay. No, I'm gonna stay," and it's like, okay, you're milking this a bit. Like it kept going on and on and on. I'm staying. I'm staying.
I did have a brief
that
moment where I'm
dragged
like,
on a
wow, what if he did stay? That'd be kind of entertaining. Like if they found a way to like, because that almost
would have felt
been
very Avengers to me.
But what
Well, yeah,
happened?
true.
What happened if it actually turned out that Indy was Archimedes?
See, that would have
Yeah.
been fucking interesting.
Yeah, who is Archimedes?
If
Well,
they came back through time and accidentally killed him with the plane, and then Indiana
Exactly.
had to stay to be Archimedes.
to
We're writing a better movie again, you guys.
yeah,
We always do
And
it.
if it had happened
Christ.
before the battle that he was talking, that he always wanted to see, he would have known that he was the one who had to come up with all of these engineering feats that were decades ahead of their time, and he would have been like, "Shit, I'm Archimedes. God damn it!"
Yeah, now I've got to remember all the shit that I make. But also because he's been digging up history for so long. Like there was a part of me that thought that would have been, really perfect. We would have missed out on the really nice sequence at the end with Marion. But and what I did like, I almost felt sorry for Shia LaBeouf.
I did.
What happened to him? Died off screen.
Yeah, what do you? He died in the war. Anyway.
Yeah.
But which war? Well, he died in the Korean War, apparently.
Oh, that's right, yeah. So interesting thing, the actual Dial of Destiny, that thing, is an anti-Kythera mechanism, and it's an actual real thing. So like it is it was an incredibly complicated piece of equipment that was made by the Greeks, that was for measuring essentially astronomical movement. So that's like, as per usual, there's a hint of truth to it. The fact that it opens up a time space portal, and I'm a little tired of time travel stories. And this is from me, who fucking loves Doctor Who and everything.
Yeah, but
it's just a bit.
I mean, what I wanted to know, which is the thing that was going across all, like, I want to know what these old devices or things that have massive religious power or thing do, rather than open up a time portal. What did you have in Raiders of the Lost Ark? super weapon. Great.
Yeah.
It was the stones in the Temple of Doom that bred prosperity, and then it was the cup that lets you become immortal, and then it was like there are so many different relics, and also they never stray too far from the Mediterranean and the Europe-centered factor. It's like, couldn't this have gone somewhere else? Couldn't we have gone to Africa? Couldn't we have gone across to different areas? Couldn't we have gone to China? I'm pretty sure the Chinese would have loved to have Indiana Jones come back and get some Chinese actors in there. Tencent would have thrown millions at it.
Tencent would have given him so much fucking money.
Yeah.
That's... I guess there was so much of it that felt so safe and kind of a little small. Whether they go and find whatever somebody's ear, a cave that's meant to, be some god's ear where they go to find the very small bridge. It's a big cave, yes, but at the same time, the sets felt oddly small, and it still felt like a cave that was just underneath the road somewhere in Greece.
That's pretty much how they all are.
Yeah,
it's
which is fine, but it just, you go back to Temple of Doom, sorry, Last Crusade, and you go through the valley of the Crescent Moon, and then you find the fucking the ruins of Petra. Scale, scope, beauty.
Yes. And this is kind of like your reverse film, whereas it started with a pinnacle and then just kind of all petered out towards the end.
And even if you've got a fucking amazing big battle sequence at the end where it's, Greeks and ships and
I know, but if you don't give a shit about the two sides battling, why have a battle? Like, what we're supposed to do is care about someone watching a battle.
And because essentially what it is, oh yes, they did fight that way. He did use these big claws that pulled the ships out of the water. He did use mirrors that were essentially laser cannons.
Yeah, and I mean the only annoying thing about that is that it's only established within the film that that's Indiana Jones's big thing that he likes the most is that particular battle, and that was his special kink. What I was saying earlier.
Yeah, right.
And if it had have been like there were hints of it all through the other films, you would have been like, well, that's great, that's why he likes this and he does this and he does that,
Yeah. If there'd been a running theme throughout all of them, that particularly the magnificence of Greek invention was something that he particularly loved. But no, you kind of get the feeling that he just loves all archaeology, and everything is fair game.
Fair game.
And I got to say, I'm sorry, but Teddy, and like when you get to the last act, and Teddy's in the plane with another guy. Who was the other guy? Why was there another guy?
Asleep in the plane.
I know, but it's like, okay, so Teddy needs somebody to be able to be with because he can't possibly land a plane by himself. So just put a guy in the plane and have him wake up. I kind of half expected him to become Archimedes.
Exactly. Like there was some ropey shit going on there at the end where they've written themselves into a corner that they didn't really know how to write themselves out of. But at least they spent some time on dialogue with Helena Shaw, and Indiana Jones does quip the way Indiana Jones did.
Yes.
He works well. I like seeing Salah. I like seeing Marion. It was nice to see Salah absolutely embracing the character's journey as moving from Cairo to New York and becoming a cabbie. And becoming a cabbie, because that's what you would do in New York. And focused on his family. Like, he's not worried about his children anymore. He's worried about his grandchildren, and he's just happy to be there, living a life that must be completely foreign to him. So that was lovely. Like, it's lovely to see all those things. I didn't really give a shit about the, Apollo horse subway chase. That just seemed like a reason to get from point A to point B. And
the Nazi CIA, Boyd Holbrook characters, and the gigantic fucking thug guy.
Yeah.
Like, they really didn't get a huge amount of development.
I think
I'm kind of annoyed that they killed the CIA woman.
Yeah.
I thought she was a more interesting character
I mean,
Yeah.
I love how they
than
established
the
them.
men.
I love how
Then
they
they'll
established
fight the
them
men.
at the start there, where they were just like, "Oh no, they're just killing people because they're ruthless and they know their mission is to keep the secret." Like, and I was like, "Great, I 100% know these characters. I know that what they're about. Good introduction." Then by the end, you're like, "Oh, they're all Nazis. Makes sense."
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a bit missing, especially when you introduce a couple of characters and then they go away or they don't really have a reason for being there. It was a bit like, oh. But then again, it's
Yeah.
about Indiana Jones, and at least there was no fucking aliens.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, it's
Safe.
probably going to do okay. It'll make a few $1,000,000 and people will probably enjoy it. But I have a feeling that general consensus on this one will be, it's fine.
Yeah, it's safe.
Yeah.
I mean, bit disappointed for James Mangold. He did do Logan,
Yeah.
but I mean, he had to eat a bunch of shit through the Wolverine and a few other films first.
Yeah.
It would have. I feel like I wonder what James Mangold's Indiana Jones without studio interference would be like. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If he'd been able to like direct it for an R rating, it could have been a much more interesting film.
I feel like the possibility of having a bit more kind of oomph. Like, because every now and then there were moments where somebody would get smacked in the face and I'd be like, oh, fuck me, that felt like it hurt. And to me, that's the sign of a really good director who is making the action really thwack. But then there was a lot of it that was just very CGI and
Well, there you go. Indiana Jones. There we go. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. It sort of peters out like this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Indiana Jones and the Diet Coke of Peril.
Yes, would have. Yeah, we hope that. Do we need any more? No, I'm fine with that. Like, you've sort of redeemed yourself from the King of the Crystal Skull. Like, it's not terrible, but also we're okay now. How about we just come up with a new Indiana Jones that's not Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or just fucking hard rebooted into Short Round.
I would be all about an ongoing series with fucking Helena Shaw and Short Round and various other characters.
I am 100% behind. Helena Shaw continues to do what she was doing, which is going around and stealing artifacts for money. And she runs into...
she's just basically being Carmen Sandiego.
Yeah, but she runs into Short Round and he keeps yelling at her, it belongs in a museum, and it's just them trading backwards and forwards between artifacts. It's like she's stealing them and he's recovering them to put them back. And he's got a huge thing that goes on, which is he doesn't want to put them in Western museums. He wants to retrieve artifacts from Western museums and give them back to the countries of origin.
Repatriate them.
Exactly. Done.
I like that.
That'd be fucking great. I would watch the shit out of that.
Don't worry, the AI writer of the future will do that for us. So now that I've put it out on the internet, it's just going to be picked up and then Disney will plonk it out somewhere.
Adsky makes a bold statement, boy. How's about a new adventure movie with an original story and characters? Fuck that, won't make any money.
What are you killing about?
Original?
Get out.
What a crazy concept.
Everything original was made 40 years ago. There's no
1984. That was the last time anything was original.
You haven't been trawling through a bunch of old stuff looking for content that you can reboot because it has an established audience. This is wrong. What are you doing there? Then again,
what are you doing, Adsky?
What did they do? They were going through like old serials and radio dramas to come up with people like Indiana Jones and Star Wars. So that was roughly the 40s and the 50s when they were releasing stuff in the 80s. So what's like 30 years before 1990? Fuck, we're fucked.
Yeah, where there are no heroes from the 1990s.
What do we just like? Are we rebooting Alf?
I would watch that.
Have we got a bunch of people like trying to steal Tazos from each other's and Pogs?
Pog.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have someone who's just like it's the dark and gritty reboot of Polly Pocket we've all been asking for.
That Barbie Oppenheimer mashup.
Oh my god.
I'm down for Boppenheimer.
Boppenheimer.
Hi, Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Oppenheimer.
What is? I love watching those memes of like three dudes in suits like from Peaky Blinders walk up going 3 tickets to Barbie, please.
I saw the best one today, and it was half of Cillian Murphy's character with the hat, and then the other half of Cowboy Barbie, like Margot, and it's like inside you there are 2 wolves.
Hopefully someone out there is just selling a double feature ticket. Like, can a cinema please?
100%.
Like,
I will watch.
get
I'll
on
go
shit
to
out of both of
Barbie in my
those.
pink dress, and then I'll walk out
Yeah.
and walk straight into Oppenheimer.
if we get onto the Orpheum or something over in Sydney, and just
Oh
be
my
like,
god, yes.
you need to do a double feature and sell that, and the first one is definitely Oppenheimer, and then it goes straight into Barbie. Like, there's no break. There's no break. It just goes straight in.
Okay,
you know.
Barbie, let's go party.
Yeah. Perfect.
So Adsky does have a question for
Oh.
Jill. So we'll wrap up the podcast
podcast,
on
Not
just for me.
Indiana Jones. Sorry, has a question for all of us, but we'll wrap up the podcast on Indiana Jones.
Yeah. And then
And say thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
Hope you had a lovely time. And what are we doing next week? Fuck only knows.
ah,
It's a new month.
it is. It's well. Look, here's a little hint for you. What's next Tuesday? What date is that? It's the 4th of July.
4th. We're going to talk about my favorite movie series, Captain America.
Yep, that's right. It's Captain America
Nice.
World Police. We're reviewing Captain America, the First Avenger, and Team America World
Fuck
Police.
Yeah.
But just my favorite one, the Winter Soldier. I was talking about, like, where's the moment that you realize they're in love with each other?
Yes.
Okay, so that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Adsky's question is the audio mix, was it a bit weird in Across the Spider-Verse, or was it just my cinema? Seems like some parts were really quiet and some parts were really loud. Yes, in fact, the audio mix was quite shit and has had new prints or new digital prints sent out around the world because the mix of all of the stuff at the start with Gwen was apparently way too low.
Great.
So, yes. No, it wasn't just you, everybody.
Get a refund.
Yes.
Yes. Marvel can afford it. Or Disney
Yeah,
can afford
they
it.
really can.
Or can
Sid-
they?
is it
We don't
Sony?
actually know,
Oh.
considering the animators from that came out and said, what do you mean the next one? No, we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
You'd think being a Sony movie and Sony make stereos that the sound quality would be a bit better.
Sony also make pianos and like generators and a bunch of other shit. And
They do
white
make
goods.
a lot of other stuff, but yeah. Also, Casper saying apparently there's a theory that the multiple versions of it because of the remix of the audio. There are actually multiple versions of it. One of the editors has said, "Oh, I'm glad that somebody's finally noticed that there are actually different versions of Across the Spider-Verse."
That means you would have had to see it in 2 different places. So it's just for the jet setter crowd.
It
People
is.
who've-
There's a sequence where like Miles ends up riding Spider Horse at one point. There's a whole bunch of different lines that were just like by the
I'm
sound
sure
of it,
it'll
they're
be
just.
on the DVD.
I hope so. Yeah.
In the interim, before we head into July to talk about things there, I have been watching Silo, which I can recommend.
Oh, so is that notes? Should we start watching
Yes,
Silo?
you got to tease it out a little bit, or it's just we're not going to get anywhere. Yeah, Silo is interesting. I watched season
Yep.
2 of The Bear, and that is an emotional roller coaster again. For fuck's sake! So get on to season 2 of The Bear if you can.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
not ready for that.
no,
Yeah,
I haven't
just-
finished season 1.
Oh,
Still got one last fucking episode, and I'm like,
Jesus.
wow.
Quinny,
Yeah.
don't do what I did and just mainline the season 2 all at once because it's and a little not spoilery, but just to let everyone know, they're very short and sharp in season 2, except for one episode, which is a movie length episode, which comes in the middle of the season, and it's just
wow.
like you aren't prepared for that. Like you're just not
right.
prepared because you're just like, oh, what? This is very long and having a lot more character growth and structure. What is going on here?
So Casper's asking, what's the homework? Currently,
Don't know.
not sure. So there will be something that comes out, and we'll tell you what we are talking about. Yeah, I've also watched the first episode of Silo. I watched the series of Secrets of the Mogwai, the
That little
the
cartoon.
Gremlins animated series, and it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah, heaps of fun. And Strange New Worlds is back.
Yep.
Mhm.
Strange New
and
Worlds is
it's
interesting.
fucking
Very good.
great. I thought episode 2 was amazing.
Mhm.
But also a hefty fuck you in the middle fingers to Paramount Plus for cancelling Star Trek Prodigy and then removing it from the service within a week.
Don't
Like,
it's look,
what
the
the
more
fuck?
the more they remove stuff from these services, the closer we are hopefully to a deal between the writer's strike, and that's just showing how much they're just like, no, we don't have to pay residuals on things that we don't have anymore. Bye.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. And I'm hoping that somewhere along the line they start going, actually, maybe the audience wants us to just fucking tell stories and keep telling stories that they like.
Mm.
Because
Uh,
every time you get people invested in something, a la Netflix or whatever, and then you say, okay, 2 seasons in, that's it, cancelled. It just pisses people off.
Yeah.
and oh yeah, The Secret Invasion, which I haven't started looking at yet.
Oh yeah, I watched the first episode and I fucking hate it.
I was enjoying it, but also I understand why people would be angry.
I'm angry for 2 reasons.
Right.
Both of
Yes.
them are an affront to me as a graphic designer and a woman.
Oh, yes. Yeah, actually, no, completely good point. Yeah.
Mm.
Fuck them for using AI for doing their opening titles.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Like, I can thematically understand what they were going for, but still, fuck them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Well,
That's
there's a
that's
lot
not
that
to
we
the
can talk
viewers.
about.
That's to the AI.
It's like, wow, Marvel, you finally made something that I fucking hate.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I actually really enjoyed it, but I also understand why people not loving it.
Casper, I'll wait until you've watched the episode. At the very end of the episode, and then you understand why I hate it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, get out there, watch some television, and then hopefully we'll figure out what movies we're going to do next. Because we had a whole month of movies, so now it's time to get
We
back
had a
and
big
doing.
month of movies.
Yeah.
Massive month of
And we still
movies.
haven't heard back from Peter about what she might want to review this week. Or this week, this month.
Although I don't know what she was watching whilst she was off in France and
Swanning
Greece.
around.
Well, look, there's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Oh, that's next, technically the month after.
That's August, yeah.
There's
I'm
Barbie,
talking
there's
came for it.
Oppenheimer, there's Mission Impossible coming up.
Definitely be talking about Barbie.
Yeah,
It's
like
the
we
last
know
thing
that
I do.
Barbie is a guaranteed 100% will be watching,
Yes.
no questions.
You just
asked.
pencil that one in for the 25th of July right now. That's defo gonna be Barbs.
Yeah.
Totes Barbs.
Totes Barbs.
Defo gonna be Barbs.
Yeah,
Depends on when like the preview screening is for us, because if it's earlier than Tuesday the 19th, then we might be able to do it that week.
Yeah. I mean, also previous screenings have been remarkably difficult to manage, as you've seen this month, where previous screenings happened on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a fucking whenever they feel like happening. So, yes.
Yeah, look, it'll be fun. We'll work something out. I'll get the schedule out soon, but watch some TV or tell us what you'd like us to review. Have you been watching anything on television or movies that you would like us to talk about? We watch stuff for money.
Yeah, maybe we should put another poll up in the thread for everything.
Yeah, maybe another poll. Which one do you want to
maybe
review?
It's time.
Yeah, anyone want to review all the Fast and Furious movies? Come on. I watched the last one. It lost a fucking trick. Fast X, come on, it should have been Fast 10, your seatbelts. I did watch it, and I have to say, like, if there's something that I didn't expect out of it, was how much I liked the way Jason Momoa played it like a fucking champion. He just came like how he's been playing that straight kind of person in Aquaman and being serious and being a hero, and it's a bit cheesy, but he's still fine and he knows it. In this one, he's like, oh no, I get to act however I'm gonna fucking act, and he is off the chain.
Okay.
He
and
eats
by all
all
accounts,
the scenery.
Vin Diesel hated it.
Yep,
Like,
it fucking works because he's like Jason Momoa is the villain, and Vin Diesel is the hero, and you can see how much Jason Momoa's acting is killing Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Which is why you kind of watch it
seriously.
Yeah. It's just like, no, I'm playing this effeminate. Fuck you. Yes.
Eventually, I'll watch it. But not today.
Come on, Quinny.
we rating
Uh,
anyone, Quinny?
We're gonna
Yeah,
rate.
look, I reckon we will. What do we feel like? Do we feel like Barjo? So
Are we
Barjo and Hex are both.
rating anyone?
Or we could go and watch.
Where's my
go and,
kazoo version of the Indiana Jones?
do
thing?
do do do. Yes.
No, Dion, no.
There's a joke that very few people get. So we could either do Barjo and Hex, or we could do Good Jordan Raskopoulos. What do we feel like? Yeah, for fuck's sake.
Well, we talked about Axis of Awesome earlier.
Yeah,
maybe
let's
Jordan.
go and
Let's
rate
get some
Jordan.
Jordan.
That sounds like a good plan.
She's
okay.
a good egg.
Yes, indeed she is.
All right.
Well, thanks everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
I wanna live in a world full of heroes, not sit here counting zeros in a cubicle downtown. I wanna look out my window, see 'em flying, and swing across the horizon as I cheer 'em on so proud. The powered girl keeps staring at her face, and call Colossus and have him teach me ways, and then we'd exercise. I'd be one of the guys. Martial arts from iron fist and wall. I'll dance her up and teach her all my songs. Oh, I wanna live in a world full of heroes, not cooking up these heroes at my parents' restaurant now. I wanna yell out Avengers assemble, not order up for Ethel. Yeah, we're out of cheeky now. Date Emma Frost and have her read my mind. Or Magdalena, her artifacts I find, and then we catch a symphony. It'll just be her and me. Call Bucky Barnes and arm wrestle for hours. There's NMA and bring her lots of flowers. Oh, call Hellboy up and learn to smoke cigars. Be Tony Stark at all the trendy bars. It'd be a guy's night out. We'd make that wolf